Bien, pues vamos a la siguiente
On to the
característica.
next characteristic of entrepreneurial knowledge. Such knowledge is essentially creative. As we will see, it has two facets, which are like two sides of the same coin, the creative facet and the coordinating facet.
¿Qué significa que el conocimiento empresarial
What do we
es
mean when we say
esencialmente
entrepreneurial knowledge is essentially creative? Well, I'll say it again. We're dealing with something astonishing and awe-inspiring. Indeed, today we will be discovering one amazing thing after another. For to exercise entrepreneurship, we do not need to have any means at our disposal. An act of entrepreneurship does not involve any cost at all.
En ese sentido, la empresarialidad es
In this sense, entrepreneurship is especially creative. The very discovery of a profit opportunity involves an implicit profit. For example, it could be Mr. A who suddenly comes to a realization. Hey, Ms. B is right there. She's very close by, and she has just what I need. Or it could be Ms. B who says to herself, hey, I'm squandering this resource when Mr. A needs it. It could also be a third party. To help us visualize and illustrate the argument, let's suppose it is a third party, Mr. C. Let's suppose it is Mr. C or Ms. C, and that the entrepreneurial act simply consists of discovering, recognizing, or perceiving something that only a fraction of a second before had gone unnoticed, namely that there is a profit opportunity. We'll represent this discovery as a bulb that lights up. Eureka! Look at that! In my specific circumstances of time and place, and for whatever reason, I have realized that one person here is wasting resource R, which she throws out, while another person here needs it desperately. Right there, in that creative act, lies an implicit, pure entrepreneurial profit, and the exercise of creative entrepreneurship does not require us to have any means at our disposal. It only requires us to be alert, to have that sharp gaze that enables us to see what is going to happen. The other day we were saying that the etymological meanings of the Spanish words perspicaz and especulador, speculator, are associated both with sharp vision from a watchtower and with a person who keeps watch, to notice what is happening. As is logical, the entrepreneurial act is not just noticing something, we must also get to work. The entrepreneurial act is really very simple. Mr. C goes to Ms. B and says, I'll buy your resource. And the day the woman hears that, she jumps for joy. So, this curse, I was willing to pay somebody to get this black muck off my land, and now it turns out I not only do not have to pay anyone, but someone's going to pay me. This is the happiest day of my life. And on top of that, this crazy guy, to be honest, I'm a little ashamed. This guy doesn't really know what he's doing. I guess it takes all kinds. He's going to pay me 3 monetary units. I feel bad for him. I almost have a guilt complex. I just give it to you. But the profit motive being what it is, if he pays me 3, well, I'll certainly take it. So Mr. C pays Ms. B 3 monetary units, and she hands over the resource. And then, what does Mr. C do? He goes to Mr. A and he says, look how sad you are. You can't achieve your end, X, because you don't have the resource. I've found it for you for 10. And Mr. A cries, this is the happiest day of my life. I was willing to pay 100 for it. And this guy comes and sells it to me for 10? I feel almost guilty. I have a heavy heart, as if I were doing something wrong. Maybe I have committed a venial or mortal sin in not telling him I would pay him 200. Then Mr. C gives Mr. A resource R, which he bought from Ms. B, and Mr. A pays Mr. C the 10 monetary units. As a result, Mr. C has gained 10 minus 3, or 7 monetary units of pure entrepreneurial profit. Now you'll say, Professor, what do you mean it's not necessary to have any means at one's disposal? Mr. C needs to pay 3 before he can sell. But he doesn't really need to have them, because the creative idea is enough. He can go to a third party and say, listen, I have a fantastic idea. Will you lend me 3 monetary units at 10% interest? At 10%? You're crazy. That's madness, etc. For one day? That's usury. No, really, lend it to me. In one day, I'm going to gain 7. The rest has to do with the concrete operation of the different action stages. But in the entrepreneurial discovery of the prior maladjustment, the pure entrepreneurial profit is already implicit. Just think how amazing that is. I've laid it all out for you. For in that entrepreneurial process by which exclusive and dispersed knowledge is created, in other words, the market process, which gives rise to the limitless advancement of civilization, any maladjustment or discoordination, like in the example we've discussed here in simple terms, emerges as a latent opportunity for profit, an opportunity waiting to be discovered by an entrepreneur, whether A, B, or a third party. Then all of the entrepreneurial impetus to obtain a profit sets us in motion to discover maladjustments and discoordination, contradictory behaviors, and coordinate them. This happens without any need for a ministry, an engineer, a prime minister, a bureaucrat, or a planner who insists on doing it. And so, this man who is so sad, we're going to wipe away his sadness, like this. How does he feel now? Very happy. And how does she feel? Very happy. I will never forget, when I was studying for my MBA in the United States, I don't like to get up early. Every day I study until late at night, until 2 in the morning, and I get up late. Anyway, I had my first class of the day early in the morning, at 8:30, and I went like a zombie. My wife would drive me there in the car, and I was like a zombie, half asleep. We would head to the university. We lived relatively close, and we would stop at each traffic light, and we would stop right behind an annoying garbage truck driver who was collecting the garbage. And on the back of the garbage truck, written in English, there was a message that said, "The trash you throw away is our mainstay. Thank you very much." Early every morning, this man collected the trash nobody wanted, and it was his main source of income. Thank you very much. The curse of Texas. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.